What if the pills you trusted to protect your memory were quietly stealing it instead? What if the vitamins sitting on your kitchen counter, the ones that promise energy, sharper focus, and a longer life, were doing the opposite? Across the United States, millions of seniors wake up every morning believing they're doing something good for their health. They twist open a bottle of supplements: PREVAGEN for memory, CENTRUM for strength, GNC for vitality, and swallow hope in the form of a capsule. But what if that hope was built on deception? What if the bottles lined up in pharmacies and supermarkets carried something more dangerous than disease itself? False trust. How many more aging minds will fade behind marketing lies? How many bodies will weaken while believing they're getting stronger? Welcome to BizWorld Explorer, where we uncover the hidden truths behind the products you're told to trust. Today, we expose what doctors won't tell you about PREVAGEN, GNC, and CENTRUM, and why the so-called health industry might be quietly cashing in on your confusion. PREVAGEN, the memory pill that forgot the truth. For years, commercials for PREVAGEN have flooded TV screens, promising clearer thinking, sharper memory, and a healthier brain. A smiling older man tosses his keys, a grandmother remembers her grandchild's birthday, and a soft voice says, PREVAGEN, the name to remember. But here's what they never told you. PREVAGEN's main ingredient, apoequarin, isn't some miracle protein discovered in human research labs. It was actually taken from jellyfish. Yes, the same sea creatures that drift aimlessly in the ocean. The company claimed that this jellyfish protein could somehow support brain function. But when the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and the New York Attorney General investigated, they found something chilling. No credible scientific proof that it worked at all. Court documents revealed that in the company's own internal study, the placebo group actually did better than those taking PREVAGEN. Yet, the ads kept running, seniors kept buying, and the company made hundreds of millions. So, what happens when millions of elderly Americans put their trust in a pill that doesn't work? They keep forgetting, but blame themselves, not the company. Doctors across the country have quietly admitted that many patients spend $60 a month or more on PREVAGEN, chasing improvement that never comes. It's not just wasted money, it's stolen hope. And it gets darker. Some independent labs have raised questions about safety. Because apoequarin is a foreign protein not naturally found in the human body, it can trigger allergic reactions or interfere with other medications. But that warning never made it onto the label. Instead, the packaging reads, clinically proven. Proven by whom? By a company that ignored its own failed study? Imagine a senior couple living on a fixed income. One bottle of PREVAGEN costs more than a week's worth of groceries. Yet, they keep buying it because the ad says it helps the brain. How many more will forget the truth before someone remembers to hold these corporations accountable? Because when memory becomes a market, lies become medicine. GNC, the health store, hiding a sick reality walk into a GNC store, and it feels like a temple of health. Rows of glossy bottles, labels shouting immune boost, muscle power, brain fuel. The air smells of confidence and clean living. But peel back that shiny surface, and what you'll find is a machine powered not by science, but by sales targets. For decades, GNC has built an empire selling supplements that are often unregulated, unverified, and untested. The FDA doesn't check supplements before they hit the shelves, only after people start getting sick. And people have. In 2015, the New York Attorney General's office tested popular GNC herbal supplements. What they found was shocking. Many didn't even contain the herbs listed on the label. Some had rice powder, houseplants, or beans instead of the promised ginseng or echinacea. Others contained traces of wheat and peanuts, allergens that could send unsuspecting customers to the hospital. That wasn't just an accident, it was fraud. Yet the story barely made headlines. GNC quietly reached a settlement, promised to test better, and went right back to selling. The deeper truth is that the supplement industry, worth over $60 billion a year, relies on one key strategy: keep the illusion alive. Store workers are pushed to upsell, to suggest stacks or combos, often without medical training. When you ask, "Is this safe with my blood pressure meds?" they don't pull out a medical journal, they pull out a sales sheet. But what happens when that ignorance turns deadly? In 2019, an 18-year-old in South Carolina collapsed after taking a GNC-branded pre-workout powder containing DMAA, a stimulant banned by the military and flagged by the FDA for causing heart attacks and strokes. The label said natural energy. The autopsy said cardiac arrest. Even GNC's vitamin blends have faced lawsuits for mislabeling potency, meaning the dosage written on the bottle isn't what's actually inside. If a pharmacy sold a pill that didn't match its label, it would face federal charges. But in the supplement world, it's business as usual. And while athletes and young adults face the most visible risks, the silent victims are often seniors. They walk into GNC searching for something to ease joint pain, sharpen memory, or lift fatigue, and walk out with bottles that might interfere with prescriptions, thin the blood, or stress the kidneys. Each capsule becomes a chemical gamble disguised as self-care. So, the next time you see a wall of shiny bottles under fluorescent lights, ask yourself, is this really a store of health? Or just a marketplace of legalized guesswork? If you've made it this far, you already know that the wellness industry isn't always about wellness. At BizWorld Explorer, we dig into the stories that affect your health, money, and trust. The stories big companies hope you never question. So if you want to stay informed and protect yourself from billion-dollar lies, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because in a world full of fake health promises, knowledge is the only supplement that actually works. CENTRUM, the multivitamin with a hidden cost. For many Americans, CENTRUM is more than a brand, it's a ritual. A single tablet each morning that promises to fill nutritional gaps, to keep you strong, balanced, and protected. But few realize that behind those bright rainbow labels lies one of the most controversial products in modern medicine. CENTRUM is owned by Pfizer, one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. Yet, despite its medical branding, CENTRUM isn't a drug. It's a dietary supplement, which means it doesn't have to prove that it works before it's sold. And that's where the deception begins. When independent researchers at Tufts University reviewed dozens of multivitamin studies, they discovered something shocking. For most healthy adults, taking a multivitamin like CENTRUM had no measurable benefit in preventing disease, improving cognition, or increasing lifespan. But what they did find was that some ingredients could cause harm when combined with certain medications or taken in high doses. CENTRUM's formula includes synthetic forms of vitamins, like cyanocobalamin, a cheap form of B12 bound to cyanide molecules, and D-alpha tocopherol, a less effective synthetic vitamin E. These aren't the same nutrients your body gets from food. They're industrial shortcuts, and shortcuts come with a price. A 2020 review in the Journal of the American Medical Association linked long-term high-dose vitamin A and E supplements to increased risk of heart disease and certain cancers. Yet Centrum continues to include both. Why? Because removing them would mean admitting the formula was outdated. And that would hurt sales, not health. But here's the darker layer. Marketing through fear. Centrum's commercials often show older adults smiling with lines like, "You're not getting enough nutrients from food alone." It plants a seed of worry that you're somehow deficient, even if your diet is perfectly fine. The truth? Most Americans get enough vitamins from food. Deficiencies are rare, yet the fear sells. Centrum's parent company earns billions every year convincing people to top up nutrients that may already be sufficient, while ignoring the fact that synthetic fillers, artificial dyes, and metallic binders can actually stress your liver and kidneys. Even the tablet coating, that smooth, glossy finish, often contains titanium dioxide, a whitening agent banned in Europe for potential cancer risks. But in the US, still legal, still unlisted on the front label. For the elderly, whose kidneys already struggle to filter waste, these synthetic additives can quietly build up, causing fatigue, nausea, and, over time, organ strain. So the question becomes, are you really taking a vitamin for health or swallowing a daily dose of industrial residue dressed as nutrition? The bigger picture. When wellness becomes a business, from PREVAGEN's jellyfish lies to GNC's unverified formulas to Centrum's synthetic shortcuts, a disturbing pattern emerges. They all sell the same illusion, that health can be bottled, branded, and sold. But the science says otherwise. The National Institutes of Health has repeatedly warned that supplements are not substitutes for real nutrition, yet marketing keeps convincing millions otherwise. The supplement industry is barely regulated, worth $60 billion and growing fast because fear is profitable. Fear of aging, fear of memory loss, fear of not doing enough. Every pill, powder, and gummy feeds off those fears, transforming them into corporate revenue. And while regulators debate, consumers pay, not just in dollars, but in trust and sometimes in health. What you can do. If you truly want to support your brain, heart, and body, start with real food and verified science, not TV promises. Get your blood levels checked before taking any supplement. Choose brands that publish third-party testing results. Companies like Thorne, Pure Encapsulations, or Nordic Naturals that verify purity and potency. And remember, if a pill claims to do everything, it probably does nothing. Because real health doesn't come from a capsule. It comes from clarity, balance, and truth. So, the next time you open your medicine cabinet and see those shiny bottles lined up in neat rows, ask yourself, are these pills protecting me? Or are they protecting the profits of those who made them? How many more Americans will keep swallowing promises instead of truth? The supplement industry doesn't want you to ask these questions. But that's exactly why we will. You're watching BizWorld Explorer, where we dig deeper, connect the dots, and expose what others won't. If this video opened your eyes, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because the next story might hit even closer to home. Stay curious, stay informed, and remember, sometimes the most dangerous medicine is the one that never worked at all.